All right. Check one, check two. This is it. Welcome to the Cannabis Coffee Hour with your host, me, Rob Cantrell, coming at you again. Episode 180. Let's take it back to the old school. Let's take it back to Union Square, 1980, episode 180 of the Cannabis Coffee Hour. This is your host, Rob Cantrell. I'm coming to you live and direct via the internet in the podcast boom of 2022. I've been doing media podcasts, I would say, for a long since 2003, 2000. I started going on the radio for all those young bucks. I started going out on the speaker box. And I think my friends, in college, I had a radio show, or I helped out a radio show. Shout out to my buddy Sam. I was the intern for a year. I did a little bit of DJing, but it was I don't know how committed I was to it, but I am committed to this Cannabis Coffee Hour. I love doing this podcast. It's a weekly podcast. It's my time to vibe out and kind of talk about herb. I got some great herb here. Shout out to the dispensary in Brooklyn called Mr. Nice Guys. Check them out. What I have here is outdoor grown Kush cake. This is just a really good strain. It is more of a indica, so be if you want to lay down for this episode, you can. No, and I'm finishing this great Cuban coffee that I got the beans at Costco, a big thing, but it is dark coffee. And what I've learned and what I wanted to talk about, what I've learned with dark coffee, I'm not a huge dark coffee. This is kind of near like French roast, like when it's like blackened almost. What I've learned about that is you need to grind it really well. If you have super dark roast, because I didn't grind the beans really well, I just wanted to make 1 cup out of my Chemex. And so I kind of half grinded them. Blah, blah, blah. And they were just rocks. They were just like, they were just coffee rocks, rough coffee rocks. And then I tried to, pour water over them and everything. And it was all right. It looked like coffee, but it didn't hit right. It just did not hit right. So this time, because I was trying to get like 1 cup of coffee, and that's what I got. I got 1 cup of coffee, a little bit of oat milk, but I'm almost off even the creamer. 1 to 2 cups of coffee is where I'm at right now, like for like really good coffee. And then also, if I do Starbucks, I go iced coffee. Cold brew, there was a time like a couple months ago, as you know, with this podcast, like a lot of life is about balancing, but I was up to like doing like medium cold brew. A glass of cold brew at Dunkin' is no fucking joke. Like that will fucking straighten your hair. But I would even do a shot of espresso in that thing. So I would get like a medium cold brew with a shot of espresso. But for some reason, it does go really well. If you have a little bit of a weed fog, coffee will really kind of almost jump that weed fog into a good weed fog. And then you're going right ahead. But no. So what I've learned with dark roast is you want to grind it really good. That's what I did today, and the coffee's delicious. You want to do a really fine, especially the darker the roast, the more. That's what I've learned in life. If it's darker bean, definitely you want to crush that bean until it's just like super dust before you do like a pour over, or any of the coffee making styles that you are up to and doing out there. Number episode 180. Let me sample some of this. I'm just pounding the coffee, but I'm down to the last cup. And it was like a good Chemex. I just really made a good batch. I mean, I grounded it really good, but it's the last batch. And I don't want to go into 2 pots of coffee. And sometimes I did that for this podcast. I did it for you guys. uh no, I do love coffee. I love chocolate. I got a big bag of walnuts, and then I had these old not old, they were not new. Somebody gifted me some what is it, Dr. Bronner's chocolate. Not wheat chocolate, but just like really good organic chocolate. So I chopped the whole bar up and then I mixed it with the walnuts and I made a jar of that. It was good to snack on during the day. Man, this is like one of the finer batches of cannabis that I've gotten in a long time. And I cleaned out my Marley one hitter. Um, so yeah, great cannabis. Cannabis is legal in 19 states. I did a little bit of research today for the podcast. I try not to get too like cannabis nerdy, but it is a part of society. And I do think like with all the massive changes that are is happening, um, like working from home and even doing these Zooms and podcasting and social media and um all these super hyped up political concerns and mental health. Like I do think cannabis is right there at the right time or maybe the wrong time. It matters how you look at it because I do know there is some concern out there, and especially, don't even get me started with this Fox narrative that has been popping up lately. If they really want to, yeah, and I promise myself not to make this a political one, but man, you got to be kidding me to even think. I mean, in the history of society, cannabis smokers have been the more peaceful, the more pacifist, the more giving, the more empathetic. I think there is, it's a psychoactive, so you have to be somewhat careful. But after a certain age, I do think for me, everybody that I know that uses cannabis is a little bit more open-minded in some ways, um, and open-hearted. Maybe it's not even open-minded, it's more open-hearted. Just killing the ego and learning about ego death. I don't know. Maybe society needs to have an open conversation about ego death. And because what I've been, tripping out on, and maybe it's just age and perception, is just how many people there are and how it just constantly comes and goes and comes and goes, and how we, just the whole life cycle is constant, and how big my life is to me and how magnified it is. But then I look around me and everybody's like that. So it's like we all live in our own world, but we're all of this world. And I do think that in terms of like reprogramming my brain in terms of thinking more positive or thinking things will work out. Not that they will, but you're more inclined to look for the positive opening. Run, run for the roses, bigger than. That's Jerry Garcia. I've been on my Spotify. I've been listening to a lot of Grateful Dead. I saw a Grateful Dead cover band last night, um, out at Rockaway Beach. That was sick. Um, I've been low key, but I've been getting out there. Summer's happening. It's bubbling up, but also, the vid has been running around a lot too. So I was performing, but now I'm going into duck out mode and writing more and just kind of getting my head around this podcast. Please like and subscribe. I don't know if me asking you helps. I just see that other people do that, and I do think I don't know. You got to get reminded of it, or people just space. So please don't take it as super salesy or whatever. Was it more violent in the 80s? I think on a day-to-day basis, I think because everything wasn't filmed, um shit just constantly was going on and not being documented. And day-to-day arguments and violence and people just getting away with getting ass kicked and all that shit. Um because now you say there's more, but I just think it's just getting more easily documented and processed. Like now it seems like we've kind of it's in a kind of a for me seems more self-analytical life is like every moment like I'm like okay this is the test to try to rise above this or try to figure this thing out. um but I what I have figured out is I do love coffee. I do love weed. And in the 1980s was good, but the end of this internet age is just insane, man. This the it's almost like the individual has so much power. Like we're almost given so much that we don't even know. Like in terms of like building your own brand and building your own network and figuring out how to get paid. I mean, that's already been done a billion times over right now. So now it seems to me that it's yeah, you just the powers in the individual. You got to just do it yourself even more so, and everybody preaches that. And that's what I do love about this podcast, whether it's x amount of listeners or xxx amount of listeners. uh it is fun to do and fun to work with and work with the space. That's the thing I've been doing is working with the space. um in the spaces. This is 180 episodes. I think I've decided that I'm going to keep the organ theme music as the jam, as the official opening. And then I'll be more inclined to improv at the last beat, like make that one different. So, because I am a fan of this podcast and I re-listen to stuff and I'll get to more guests and whatnot. But I do love the test of just like trying to talk about all 19 states. uh all 19 states that are legal. I mean, that is crazy. Yeah, I guess I have been listening to a lot of Jerry Garcia band. Check out Run for the Roses and then Cats Under the Stars. It's a song about cats. People have been getting really heavy about cats. I got a cat, and it's like probably one of my favorite things that's ever happened to me besides my family. And now the cat's a part of my family, so it's kind of dope. Let's see here. Yeah, there's that. What was I mean, I went to my Spotify, and I was talking about these episodes. Um, oh, we were going to talk about the legal states. Like I know there's 19 legal states right now out of 50. Um, what are the 19 legal um cannabis states in I saw 2022 or recreational? 3/4 of the US states have legalized cannabis. So, yeah, just for the tax purposes. It's just firing up here in New York. But I think New York is gonna figure it out pretty darn fast. We hope. I just want a list of the states. It's gonna make me go through the whole article and put the list of the states at the very end. You know what? That was the worst article, bruh. That's why people only use Wikipedia. Okay. So we got Washington State is fully legal. Oregon is fully legal. Nevada is fully legal. California is fully legal. Arizona is fully legal. New Mexico is fully legal. Colorado is fully legal. Montana is fully legal. Illinois is fully legal. Michigan is fully legal. Virginia is fully legal. Whoa. New Jersey is fully legal. New York is fully legal. Connecticut is fully legal. Massachusetts is fully legal. Vermont is fully legal. Maine, fully legal. Whoa. Those are all pretty sweet states to visit. All good people. I have to say, I have friends in all these states. And I've enjoyed my time in all of these states. Oh, here's the fully illegal, bruh. South Carolina, don't get caught with it. Oh my God. Kansas, don't get caught with it. Wyoming, oh, Idaho, ugh, ugh, ugh. But Virginia, way to go, Virginia. Fully legal. But they didn't put DC up in here. Hey, man. DC is a state, brother. Um, that was fun. That was a lot of fun. But yeah, I mean, all those states I would love to check out. It's all the states you think. I can't wait to take the Cannabis coffee hour. We're just gonna take this in an Airstream out there. Speaking of an Airstream, I saw Jerry Garcia's daughter, Trixie Garcia. It's called Jerry's Handpicked Craft Cannabis, which is a brand I have an eye on. Some of these brands are really good. The Jerry, if you see the Cannabis one, Jerry Garcia Cannabis, or the Willie Nelson, is always really good cannabis. Like you always can tell if potheads are running the place, because the herb is good. Good herb gets found out, and hopefully people are finding out um, where the good herb is and where the good podcasts are. I have to say I have been using Spotify. Our Spotify layout is pretty good, even though Spotify has not. I don't know what's going on with my label with my stand-up album. My music album, by the way, but my music album is fully up there. You can listen to all the tracks. It sounds great. I do get paid off of that. So you can listen to Caffeinated Dope Rhymes. That is my music album. it's kind of serious. It's kind of not, it's kind of hip hop. It's kind of not. It's just mostly, the stuff I want to work on. And that's what was fun about this podcast. It's like, and that's what was fun about that project is, a little bit of cannabis and a little bit of coffee. Make some music, make a podcast, do some comedy, do a show, eat some chocolate, um, smoke some cigarettes, hang out in France. Mm, just getting down to that last sip. That was the second to last sip. That was one of the last sip. Um, oh yeah, I wanted to talk about the American that is held hostage, the NBA star Brittany Grenier, being held hostage by Russia for a cannabis cartridge, and that is the hardest situation right there. Um, if I'm gonna pray, that's the one I'm gonna pray for, or that's the situation, and I want to put some super juice into, because it's touchy on all subjects, and because I just see Russia not being inclined, but also it is just a empty weed cartridge. It sounds so fucking shady and weird, and definitely like a political shakedown. Um, by they're gonna give her like 10 years. Oh, it's just bad. But yeah, we can only wish the best. So my eyes on that, and hope and pray, and get involved if you're an activist. Um, yeah, I guess with activism, I wouldn't say I'm super heavy. And I don't want to be a political podcast. I want to be a human podcast. So yeah, that's just where my heart is, and I want to talk about the legal states and the cool states, and that's, I do think Brittany Grenier needs to come home, and yeah, it's a weird situation, tough situation, tough. Yeah, this is definitely, like I've always said, like with the pandemic, people were locked up for so long. Like you got to wear kid gloves. I know the instinct is to go out there and ramp it up and have fun, but people are still getting COVID, and people are touchy in terms of mental states. So I'm still like wearing kid gloves when I'm out there a little bit, in terms of like just being, minimal, but keeping it moving. Um, and then I could spend time with doing the shit I like to do, which is I do like being alone. I do like going for walks. I do like pina coladas. Oh, and I do love coffee, and I do love cannabis. I do love music. Yeah, like I've said, it's been a lot of Grateful Dead. Um, Not as much as the punk rock as, oh, and then a lot of humble pie, a lot of humble pie, and a lot of great, I guess, a lot of cowbell. It's just been a lot of cowbell. Well, the Grateful Dead doesn't have that much cowbell. Um, but man, do they have some jams. Um, I've been checking out sound systems. I got my little Lacy set up here to record the podcast. But yeah, the Grateful Dead had a crazy sound system. Shout out to my buddy Nico, who sets up sound systems. I need to hit him up. Um, but he was bragging about his big sound systems. He does like professional grade like events. Um, but yeah, I was looking at old ones for hip hop and like Jamaica dance culture. Um, like it's just like, man, some of them are just like these huge house speakers, like strung up together. And each circuitry is a little bit different. And everything gives off a different vibe. Even in electronics is the weird thing. That's why some beat machines sound, different than others. Um, the human flaw is good in terms of art. Um, like I'm not a great actor, but if I can get edited right, it looks good because I give a different take like every time. And good actors do it like I can get better at just doing the lines. But if I'm into it and trying to feel it out, I do a bunch of different styles, and there's a lot to look at. Like when I do it, I'm like, whoa, there's some range in there. Um, just how your mannerisms are more natural or not. That's what's crazy about this podcast. And I started looking at it and start going, hey, why are you always itching your hair? Or do you have that where the itchy foot syndrome, the bouncy foot syndrome? Um, I've been drinking too much coffee, so I've been like, dude, do I have bouncy foot syndrome or have I drank too much coffee? Am I super spiritual or have I smoked too much weed? Um, I need to try that out. That's a good, I'm gonna have to write that bit down. I have done the super spiritual one. Um, but the bouncy foot syndrome, I know that's not a real disease, but it is. Like, I just know I'm not saying it right. That sounds funny. And then, yeah, I'm trying to get better at just like writing down the simple ideas because the idea is to come out with a new comedy special. I haven't, I mean, I've done live recording video of my stuff before, but in long form, I only did like a DVD early on. I haven't released anything, and so I do need to release something. So I was going through the old material, but I'm going to put together just a bunch, hopefully new, because new just kind of feels like some pop. But then I need to sprinkle in some ones that haven't been documented and ones that I love to do. And maybe that I think old school fans of my stand up might dig. So I'm excited about trying to put that all together. And I have all these old videos I need to look at. So I'm still like sifting through that and still like lining up more dates. But as of now, don't have any dates up here. Mostly gonna be performing in New York for a minute. Um, but who knows? I just mostly am just like you and getting through the 4th of July. Did you have a fun time? Did you light your own fireworks? Uh, I'm not like I've said before, I'm not a fan of the I'm going to have my own fireworks display, but I do remember the joy of my uncle lighting bottle rockets with his cigarette. And I thought that was the coolest shit ever. Like we could just go out and shoot bottle rockets in Michigan. We used to go up to the summer, and my uncle would pretty much just shoot bottle rockets into the woods. I think it was into the lake. There was some woods and then there was a lake. But he would just light the bottle rockets with his cigarette. And I just thought that was the coolest shit. And he always had this big brown bag. He would have a stash of just like all this crazy fireworks. Um, Black cats. Those are just pap, 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 pap. But in the city, like it's everywhere. And then now with the gun laws and like all the crazy violence, like it just brings up the anxiety level, goes notch, notch up. Anxiety goes, all right, here we go. That's why I did stay in this 4th. Like I was around during the day and it was a beautiful day. That's the real fireworks, is the good fucking weather. Especially in New York when you got bomb ass weather. That's better than sitting on a sweaty ass roof about to get fallen over and shanked by a rat to watch boom, boom, ooh, ah, ooh, ah. I mean, fireworks are kind of hacky. It's, it's just kind of like, okay, there you are. They're going up. Oh, it's red. Oh, it's green. It's like, can't you come up with something different? But they do, and then it's just like a multi-million dollar fireworks display. Like this is like some Japanese dragon 3D virtual reality new shit. But sometimes I do like a good fireworks show. I mean, it's good. I've seen some pretty epic ones. I grew up in DC. I saw some from the mall that were pretty epic. And they would go on forever, but I would just remember how hot in July it is. I mean, I'm not an AC guy, right? I don't have any AC right now. I'm doing East Coast. I'm ready to make a 1980s KRS-One beat right now. I'm just drinking tap water and black coffee and doing a podcast, hammering out bomb ass one hitters of outdoor organic super grown Humboldt pot. Um, 19 states. We should go back and like, would you live in these 19 states? Okay, yeah. All the 19 states where it is Hawaii, of course, is fully legal. Okay. All the states that are fully legal, um, would you live there? No, Alaska's fully legal. Hawaii is mixed. Oh, I'm not into, I want to see fully legal. Um, okay. Would you live in Maine? Yes. I like maple syrup. I like, I love that. I've always loved that up west, Maine, Vermont. Give me that maple syrup. Give me that skiing. Give me those sorrels. Give me that LL Bean. Vermont, fully legal. Very cool. Ben and Jerry's, kombucha, Burt's Beeswax, New York, fully legal. Yes, I do live there. Massachusetts, yes. Would I live there? Connecticut, they got some good beaches out there. It's good. Rhode Island, fully legal. Don't sleep on Island. It's got some cool parts. Um, New Jersey, yeah, yeah, I mean, I would places in New Jersey I would live. Um, but if New York's right there, I would go there. Um, Maryland, oh, Maryland's not fully. Virginia is fully. That is so crazy. Illinois, fully. In Michigan, fully. Both really cool states. I mean, that's where you got Chicago and Detroit. Colorado, fully. Great state. New Mexico, it only gets cooler there. Arizona, very cool state. Nevada, fully legal. Very dope. Uh, I wonder. And then California, Oregon, Montana. Can you dig it? Oregon, I love. Washington, I would live in all those places. They're all super dope. And I hope more. I mean, that's fully. That's not the mixed states. I thought Oklahoma was there, but I don't. I think Oklahoma isn't fully next level legal. I got to do my stretches. I have been stretching. I was trying not to talk about my health and just practice it. And the same thing goes for this podcast, but it is kind of um, a well-being podcast in a sense. I would say my cannabis intake is a part of my well-being, and coffee intake is part of my well-being. That's what I do enjoy about the one hitter, that I can just like kind of control if I have enough or too much, or just knock it out. Um if it's really good outdoor grown pot, I suggest that. Coffee, Chemex, can't do it wrong, man. It tastes good. But finally fine grind those dark roast beans. That's what I've learned. But we're going to learn so much more about coffee and cannabis. Coffee and cannabis, I mean, it just goes on in society. There really is like a salt and pepper type of vibe to it. Like if you go to any bodega around here, they have their own coffee set up. Or you go to any restaurant, they have their own coffee set up. And forget the coffee houses. There's coffee roasters, there's coffee houses, coffee shops, there's Dunkin', there's Starbucks, there's whole bean. And then I've just learned about freshly roasted. Everybody talks about like it's only freshly roasted after the first like 24-hour. Or I was watching this TED talk about this dude roasting beans in a popcorn maker. And that's how you get the fresh roast, of like getting the freshly roasted beans right out of that. Um, and I will say that the same thing with catching fish right out of the ocean, there's that within the first 24-hour, and then it becomes, but within that first 24-hour of whatever that is, um, at peak performance, it may be just the human aspect of trying to get the best out of something. But I do believe in excellence. Uh, yeah, there's a good new Clutch song out. Shout out to the band Clutch about excellence. It's good heavy metal. I listen to some heavy metal, but mostly it's been a lot of Grateful Dead, like I said, but a lot of Jerry Garcia band. And what was the other? A lot of Green Day, and Humble Pie has been on rotation, and some KRS-One, I would say. Yeah, that's what I've been listening to. And then this is the Kush Cake, great strain. Just finished all the coffee. I got this big jug of Analgene. I'm still old school. I don't have the swell or the Hydro Flask. I got the old Nalgene hippie. Come here, Uncle John's band. Um, 1990s jug of goodness. I'm supposed to drink 4 of these a day. I think I've only drank a quarter of them. I got some catching up with the water. Um, but I just wanted to give everybody a shout out. Home and a home. And thanks for listening to the Cannabis Coffee Hour. We'll come back again and again. This is episode 180. And peace and love. We're out, out, out.